Well, hello, my fellow friends, my fellow neighbors, and my fellow shining stars. Our next trolley stop is here, and our next trolley stop is now. Welcome back to another all-new episode of the Empowered Publicity Children's Book Spotlight Series. To be precise, we have reached episode number 119. That is episode 119 of the Children's Book Spotlight Series. My name is John Masiulionis, the manager here at Empowered Publicity. Thank you so much for spending some time with us, wherever you are, wherever you may be. We are super excited about this week's trolley stop. Now, of course, we're already in the midst of the summer season as well. It's a great time for summer reading. A lot of kids are enjoying their favorite children's books. And I believe, I go back to one of my favorite songs from childhood by the late, great Whitney Houston. And she always said, I believe that the children are our future. With all due respect to the late Miss Whitney Houston, I believe that not only our children are our future, but they're also our present. And one of the things that we really enjoy here, as we have over the past 7 years at Empowered Publicity, is to be able to place the spotlight on some of the young shining stars in the kidlit community that are doing not only incredible work putting out amazing children's books and messages that can benefit kids, parents, families, and educators, and of course us big kids as well too, but most importantly that are making a difference. They're making a positive impact in their own lives, the lives of their family, the lives of their loved ones, their communities all across the country and around the world. And we are very blessed to not only have one shining star, not only two shining stars, but three shining stars. A wonderful family is joining us here on episode 119 of the Children's Book Spotlight Series. And we're going to be talking about a super amazing new children's book and also an activity book. And you're going to see how everything comes full circle, how everything complements perfectly with one another. We encourage all of you, our listeners and viewers, our friends and neighbors, to head on over to Amazon.com to purchase your copies of A Bully at My School, along with ABC Come Trace With Me. Again, they are available at Amazon.com if that is your preferred online vehicle of choice. You can leave a 5-star review if you feel guided to do so for A Bully at My School, along with ABC Come Trace With Me, because that is one of the many ways that you can support our featured guests here on the Children's Book Spotlight Series this week. 9-year-old Kameron Newborn is joining us, along with his sister, 14-year-old Kylee Newborn, and their mother, Tamra. The trolley's heading out from San Diego. Tamra, could you let our listeners and viewers know where the trolley is headed? You guys are located where?
McKinney, Texas.
McKinney, Texas. So the trolley's racking up a lot of mileage here this week on the Children's Book Spotlight Series. Kids, it's such an honor and a blessing to have you on the program. This is your first interview, so thank you for giving us the opportunity to share your message and your story with our listeners and viewers, our friends and neighbors, and of course, our fellow shining stars. How are you kids today?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for asking. Before we begin, I feel a lot of love in the air. There's a lot of joy. There's a lot of positive energy that's ongoing throughout episode number 119 of the Children's Book Spotlight Series. So if this message is already lifting your spirits, if Kylee and Kameron and Tamra, they're putting joy in your life, they're putting smiles on your faces and in your hearts, we encourage you to subscribe to Empowered Publicity's official YouTube channel and to be able to share this very special trolley stop that is now beginning on your favorite social media platforms of your choosing. Kameron, as we talked about in the Empowered Publicity Green Room, I went back to when I was 9, and that was 1990. That's a long time ago. You're sharing such an important message about bullying. And unfortunately, there's a lot of kids right now that experience bullying every day in different forms, whether it be at school, it can be on the playground. Through the pandemic, we've even seen cyberbullying as well. Could you share with us why you wanted to share this message and write this book at this point in time, Kameron?
Sorry. Okay, so the reason why I wanted to publish this book is I wanted to stop the purpose of bullying, because I did not like seeing people getting bullied or cyberbullied. because it's just not right, and I just don't like it, and I just want people to stop bullying people.
It's interesting that you share that, Kameron, because I feel that maybe you've heard of this expression that one person can make a difference. And we've seen a lot of people over the course of this past year plus through the pandemic going through a lot. And a lot of people are going through, whether it be fear or doubt or insecurity. And it seems that more people are being bullied now than before, which is unfortunate. It was important for you to make a difference. Did you feel in your heart when you wanted to put this message out that you would be making a difference in the lives of many people? Were you very confident in that very early on?
Yes, sir.
That's wonderful. And I think that this is an important message for all of us big kids as well. Because, us as adults, we have the inner child that's still within us. And there's times where us as adults, Kylee and Kameron, we don't act the nicest. Sometimes it's kind of like our inner child, someone took our favorite toy, right? And it's important because you kids, I think that the answers to a lot of our questions and our problems and our challenges, you're giving us the answers. And this is such a very colorful book, a very animated book. We always like to have our guests that join us, Kameron, share a little bit about the book as well too. Now, we don't want to give away the whole kit and caboodle here on the Children's Book Spotlight series, right? But could you share with our listeners and viewers a little bit about the book and how you feel that it's really making an impact, not only for kids, but also adults? Could you take us inside the book if you could and talk about it?
Okay, so, wait, what were you talking about?
You're fine. Just tell them about the book, like what's in the book. But he said not giving away everything in the book. So just give them like a summary of what's in the book.
Okay, so what's in the book is like, it's a little kid who was being bullied by this bully who was really, really mean. And he tells his friends to stay away from him. And he wants to have the bully stop messing with him. So he tells his parents, and his parent tells his teacher, and his teacher pulls them aside and have a talk with them, and then he stops bullying him.
I really like the message in your book, Kameron. There's many things I love about your book, but one of the things that stood out is the importance of being brave and standing up for yourself. And I want to tell you how your book helped me, if that's okay with you. So, some people just, they call me John Masiulionis. The kids like to call me Mr. John. So I was the kind of person, and I'm a very nice guy. I love doing things to help people. I'm a very genuine, sensitive soul with a big heart. And I would do everything to avoid conflict and confrontation. And sometimes in life, you have to stand up for yourself and you have to be brave. So, the universe has been giving me is the opportunity to move through that sort of fear. Could you talk to us, if you could, Kameron, about why it's important to be brave right now and to stand up for yourself, especially if you're being bullied or if you just feel that someone is doing something that's not right? Why is it important to be brave and to stand up for yourself, do you feel?
The importance that I think is important to stand up for yourself and be brave is you have to be brave in life so you can go through things, and like sometimes you can get stuff your way, and like you have to stand up for yourself. Like if people are doing stuff to you, then tell your parents and stand up to that.
That's beautiful. And I think that, Kameron, this is probably a good feeling that you have is that knowing that there are kids, not only across the country, but around the world, when they enjoy a bully at my school. I always like to close my eyes and put out some really good visuals out there, knowing the fact that there is many, many, many kids that are going through challenging times right now that are going to be able to move through their challenging times, especially being bullied, thanks to this book. How does it make you feel knowing that there's kids that are bullied out there that are going to be able to learn how to be brave and to stand up for themselves and move through the experience of bullying thanks to your book. How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel like a good person because I'm helping people, like if they don't know what to do and they're being bullied and like, yeah, they just don't know what to do and like they're telling their parents and so.
These are wonderful words that Kameron is sharing. And again, our listeners and viewers, our friends and neighbors, and of course, again, our fellow Shining Stars, this is coming from the wise words of a 9-year-old, right? You know, I think that as adults, we tend to overcomplicate things a bit and, you know, make things more difficult than what they need to be. And, you know, Kameron is giving all of us sage advice, not only for our little ones, but also for us big kids too. Again, we hope that you're enjoying episode number 119 of the Empowered Publicity Children's Book Spotlight Series. We've got a very special trolley stop this week. Joining us, an amazingly gifted brother and sister tandem. Kameron Newborn is joining us. We're in the midst of sharing A Bully at My School, and his sister is also joining us as well too, Kylee Newborn. Her brand new activity book, ABC, Come Trace With Me. My mother Tamara's joining us as well. We encourage you, if you already haven't gone to Amazon, feel free to do so. That's your preferred online vehicle of choice to purchase both of these empowering reads. Leave a 5-star review, because of course, that's one of the many ways that you can support Kylee and Kameron, the great work that they're doing and encouraging them to continue to make a difference in the lives of children, parents, families, educators, and adults across the country. Kylee, before we talk about your activity book, I can tell you have a very close relationship with your brother. And you know, one of the things about creativity is that it brings us together, right? I can tell that there's this great bond of care and love that you have for your brother. When you saw your brother at this very young age wanting to bring this book into the world and have it be on a subject that can help many people, as a big sister, how did that make you feel?
It made me feel good because like it's always gonna make me feel good seeing my brother accomplish things, in that he wrote a book to help other people stand up against bullying and to tell their teachers against bullying. It made me feel it made me feel good.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And Kameron, how did it make you feel knowing that your sister was there for you every step of the way?
It made me feel really good because she would help me. She would help me doing stuff, and like I just feel like the purpose of her making the book is to help little children out there who need help to learn how to write and stuff. So it made me feel awesome.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Before we talk about ABC, Come Trace With Me, Kameron just had a couple of more questions for herself. One of the things that we always encourage our guests to be able to share this, whenever you're doing something in life for the first time, it's not always easy. Sometimes there's a learning process, and sometimes we may experience challenges or obstacles along the way. So with this being your first children's book, and obviously you're very young, 9 years old, right? You're going to be turning 10. So again, everyone, all of our listeners and viewers, our friends and neighbors, and of course, can't forget those shining stars, Kameron. They're wishing you a happy early 10th birthday, by the way. But what were some of the challenges that you feel that you experienced in writing this book and putting it together? And what were some of the things that helped you to get through to the other side of those challenges?
Okay, some of the challenges that I knew that was gonna come through is like it was not like some things are not gonna work out. And
what were some of those challenges? Like, what were some of those things that were hard when it came to writing this book?
What was happening with my family, and I couldn't I tried.
Go ahead, explain it. Put it in your words. You tried what?
I tried to write the book, even though our family was going through horrible things. But I just tried to bypass that and try to make my book and stuff, and still think of my family at the same time.
It sounded like it really sounds like, Kameron, if I may share, that your book helped you out a lot. And I think that's a good feeling, especially if you're going through a difficult time. If you have a good friend that you can call, or if you like to read, you can take a good book, you can listen to some music. If there's something that makes you feel good, and it seems like you had this calling in your heart that despite whatever your family was going through, that you knew that this book had to be written. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. You know, one of the good things about doing something new is that you also learn in the process. Things always teach us. Life is always a teacher. So I'm curious, because I learned a lot from your book, Kameron, and I think that a bully at my school is going to be helping a lot of people learn some really amazing things. When you wrote this book, and kind of looking at it now because it was just published, it's now available, people can enjoy it. Was there something specific about yourself? What did this book teach you about life?
If I'm ever being bullied, tell an adult who's around.
And that's the importance of us, as I always like to say, kids, that telling a trusted adult. So there's parents, there's caregivers, there's teachers, babysitters. If there's someone that is making fun of you, or if they're making fun of a family member, it's important to be able to tell a trusted adult, because we, as the parents, caregivers, and custodians, can step in and make sure that we put a stop to that in the process. Kylee, I'm excited to talk about ABC. Come with me. I want to share a funny story with you, if I may. And I think we might have been around the same age. So in 5th grade, I remember I was in grammar school. I had my teacher, Miss Myers, and she couldn't read everyone's handwriting in my class for whatever reason or another. I know she couldn't read my writing. So in 5th grade, she gave us handwriting lessons. So I'm like, oh boy. So, this is where, everyone was kind of, learning how to write again for the first time, sort of thing. Your activity book is so fun. It's so colorful. There's some amazing animals. I'm just curious right off the bat, what actually inspired you to create this activity book and to really make the alphabet come to life in such a fun and magical way?
Well, I come from a big family, and I come from helping my little cousins and my brother on their schoolwork and stuff. So I thought, what better way, since parents are at home teaching their children because of the world today, I thought, what better way to help the kids than to help the little ones with their ABCs.
And I feel that education is something that's very important. You kids obviously experienced it through your own eyes, but for 1 year, for the most part, most schools were virtual in some way, shape, or form, whether it be all the time, it was the hybrid model kind of thing. What does it, in hindsight now, since we're starting to be on the other side of the pandemic, how does this make you feel now, knowing that you are helping to ensure the quality of education, that little ones who might have suffered a setback as the result of the pandemic, they're moving forward in their growth, in their education, thanks to your activity book? How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel good because I can still know that kids, even through the pandemic, they can still learn from the book that I wrote. So it makes me feel good.
One of the things that I really like about your activity book, Kylee, is the fact, sometimes, let's be honest, kids, school can be boring, right? I still remember it's been a couple minutes since I was last in school, but sometimes it's boring, right? And I think that one of the great things about children's books and activity books is that it brings some additional enjoyment. It brings, so it's not the typical, multiplication tables or, clasping erasers or, whatever you kids are doing in school nowadays kind of thing. Could you talk to our listeners and viewers? Could you talk to our friends and neighbors about the process of creating this and making sure that it was educational, but on the same side of things, that it was also fun and enjoyable, something that kids would want to learn about and tell their friends about, so that, more people can learn about the alphabet?
Okay, my process was I was thinking, what can I do to help little ones learn and how can I make it fun for them? So by doing that, I was thinking it needs to be colorful because when a little kid sees colors, they automatically think it's fun. So I decided to put two educational things. I put the animal and it's colorful so they can learn the animals also by their ABCs.
It's interesting because, you know, one of my favorite animals is the penguin. And here, if you kids ever get out to San Diego, we've got one of the biggest zoos in the entire world, the San Diego Zoo. And I believe we have some penguins here, if I'm not mistaken. But I know that your activity book, there's different animals, each by the letters of the alphabet. So, for example, U is for unicorn, W is for whale, Y is for yak. But I noticed there's that little penguin with the backpack that's always on every single page. Do you have a special connection or a special affinity to the penguin, Kylee, if I may ask?
Not really. I just think penguin is like a easy word, or it's one of the easier words for kids to learn with the letter P.
That's true. That's true. And it's so interesting because I feel that, you know, when we growing up as kids, the alphabet is the foundation. And it's really, you know, if we don't know the alphabet, we can't, you know, write a letter to someone or type out an email to someone. It really helps us with our communication. I really also enjoy, if I may share, Kylee, one of the messages that really struck a chord with me was the importance of practice, right? And, you know, again, when we're doing something for the first time, Kameron, just like I shared with you, when you're writing a book for the first time, it can be a little challenging. Whenever you're doing something for the first time, that is challenging. Whenever kids are learning the alphabet, you know, they might go A, B, Q, and then just kind of skip over C and D, or even with their numbers, they might go 1, 2, 12. So it's important for kids to practice and to never give up. Since obviously you're a little bit older and you're sharing this message with younger kids, the message specifically that you want to share to little ones that are learning their ABCs, 1, 2, 3s, that are embarking on the beginning of a beautiful life, could you share with them why it's important to practice and to never give up and to really let us know in your own way, for us big kids too, because I think sometimes we need to know why it's important to not give up and to stay the course.
I think it's important to practice because if you practice over and over of something, you're going to get better. So this book has like a lot of practicing on here. And if you keep on practicing the letters of the alphabet, then you'll learn what letters come after what letters, and you'll learn how to draw them, and you'll learn the alphabet.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. The two questions, of course, that I asked to your brother, Kameron, asking to yourself, when you start doing something for the first time, you can have some challenges, some difficulties, some obstacles. It's not necessarily always easy. As I like to say, you know, God doesn't give us an instruction manual for life, right? We have to kind of, you know, learn as we go kind of thing. So when you were putting this activity book together, whether it be through the creation of it, the publishing process, what were some of the specific challenges that you faced, and what were some of the things that helped you to get through to the other side of those challenges and difficulties, Kylee?
Some challenges that I face is like, first off, I was thinking of how can I help people this day with everything that's going around. And I was thinking, how can I help people? So I didn't really understand. So one day I was just searching up ways, and like, it was a small website of like barely, it just skimmed across my eye, and it said children's book. So then it popped up in my head. And the thing that helped me get over the challenge to help people was the website, because it said children's book. So then I was thinking that I was going to write a book to help children. And the great way to help children is their ABCs.
It really is the bare bones. It's the foundation. Without that, there's, you know, nothing else, so to speak. I'm curious to learn what this activity book taught you, because you said that you have this heartfelt desire to help other people, especially kids growing up, you know, ensuring the quality of their education. What did the creation of your activity book teach you about yourself and also about life?
This book taught me that, like, because in the back of my mind, I always had like family in my mind. So this book taught me that I could help people by using this, and for other ways to help not only my family, but to help other people.
And that's exactly what it's all about right now. And I think, again, different people have, all of us, we've gone through in some way, shape, or form, again, challenges, obstacles over the course of this past year, plus as the result of COVID and the pandemic. And when you place your focus on helping other people, it's just amazing. Like, here we are. You kids have these wonderful books out right now. We're talking about them. We're getting the message out further. We're helping even more people, more children, more parents, more families, more educators, us big kids, as I like to say. All of us have that inner child inside of all of us. That's one of the reasons why, I love children's books. I'll even introduce you to my inner child. I always like to have this here in my office. So this is Mr. John. Right here in kindergarten. As you can tell, I had more hair back then, a huge mop of hair, little clip-on tie, little sweater vest. But I always keep this close to me because my inner child is with me wherever I go. And I know that anytime that I read an amazing children's book, that my inner child feels loved, appreciated, and accepted. We're beginning to wind down our time here on episode number 119 of the Empowered Publicity Children's Book Spotlight Series with an amazingly gifted brother, sister, tandem children's authors in the process. A Bully at My School, which is penned by Kameron Newborn, 9-year-old, joining us here on the Children's Book Spotlight Series, and his sister, Kylee, who's just written her brand new activity book, ABC Come Trace With Me. Their mother, Tamara, we're going to be speaking with her as well, too, because I've got some great questions for yourself, Tamara. You can, of course, head on over to Amazon.com. If that's your preferred online vehicle of choice, you can purchase your copies of ABC Come Trace With Me, along with Bully at My School. Leave a 5-star review, if you could, in the process, because this is going to be continuing to encourage Kameron and Kylee, the great work that they're doing for, again, children, parents, families, educators, and for us big kids all across the country and all around the world. Tamara, you have raised 2 amazing kids. And I think this is a credit to yourself and to your family. You had openly shared with me that you and your family have gone through some challenges over the course of the past several years. I feel that life in some way is like a divine tapestry. When you look back on everything, it always makes sense. Sometimes we're in the middle of something. We're like, come on now, God, right? Like, can you share with me why this is happening right now? But eventually, things always work out. Sometimes, a lot of times, they even turn out better than expected. And that's amazing. Looking through this experience of your children writing these books, they're published, they're out in the world, they're helping so many people. What does this mean to you right now? And looking back on, what you had experienced over the past several years, it definitely has to, make you feel that life really is like a divine tapestry, that there has been much good that has come from your experience.
Yeah. So, of course, we discussed earlier, everything that we went through in 2017. I was diagnosed with breast cancer several months after my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer, and a couple months before my sister. And so going through the storm was horrible. And like you said, you're in the middle of it, and it's hard going through it. You just don't know what to expect. At the time, I had a 6-year-old and I had a 10-year-old. And so not only are they seeing, the different phases of cancer and the treatments of cancer, they witnessed my mother pass away from cancer. And for them at a young age to go through all of that. And here we go, 3-4 years later, they are at a point where they're productive, they're excelling. Those things that happened to us, those obstacles, you could say, didn't crush them. And so, like with my kids, I had a discussion. We discussed this, all the time about testimonies. And I told them, I said, God, we went through what we went through to be a help to others. And to, that's our testimony, to share our testimony. And I said, we have these gifts, and God wants us to do things with these gifts. And so when I was writing my own personal story, Kameron sat next to me plenty of days, like, Mom, I want to write a book. And, you know, I'm thinking at the time, I think he was 7 or 8. And I'm like, okay, well, just sit there and, you know, write the book. And I'm thinking he's just, you know, an ordinary kid that wants to write a book because mom is writing a book. But as time went along, he was like really persistent about writing this book, and he would write the words and he would, you know, tell me the ideas of the pictures and whatnot. And so now we're at a point where that I seen it manifest. That book, you know, that happened. And then Kylee, the same ordeal with her. You know, she was like, I see my mom and my brother out here working to help people. How can I do that? And so she brought this wonderful idea to me about helping educate, you know, younger people. So me as a parent, I feel great. I mean, I feel good to see my babies are doing something productive in this world. And I thank God, because we know it's not me. It's God who's, you know, directing their path and directing their life and everything. So I'm just grateful. We're blessed, and, you know, we'll just continue to walk in the path that God has directed for us.
I feel that your family's story provides hope and even just so much more than that about making it through the storms of life. For those of our listeners and viewers or friends and neighbors who are in the midst of some sort of a storm, whether it be a small drizzle or whether it be a torrential hurricane, literally or metaphorically, what would be some words of comfort, some words of encouragement that you would like to be able to share, Tamara?
Just hang on. Just hang on. Just continue to pray and hang on, because one day the storm will stop. One day, whatever you're going through, it's going to end. So I heard a motivational speaker once say, in life, we're either getting ready to go through a storm, we're in the midst of a storm. Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
So the motivational speaker said we're either in the midst, getting ready to go through a storm, in the midst of a storm, or we're coming out of a storm. So I say that to say, if you're in the midst of that storm, just hold on. You will one day, you know, get through the other side.
And you are correct in the fact that no storm lasts forever. And kids, you know what's one of the beautiful things that happens after a storm? 9.5 times out of 10, there's always a rainbow in the sky. And the rainbow signifies the fact that everything is turning out perfectly, and that there's so much magic and miracles that happen in the process. We're heading into my favorite parts of the children's book Spotlight series, kids, because I'm actually going to ask you, Kameron, have you ever watched Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood before?
No, sir.
That's okay. Kylee, have you watched Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood?
It sounds kind of familiar, but I don't know.
Well, there is a very well-known gentleman who I like to classify as the father of Daniel Tiger. His name was Mr. Rogers, and he had a popular program called Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood that aired on PBS for many decades, and he always loved to help children. He encouraged them to remember that they're loved, they're special, just the way that they are. And when Mr. Rogers was alive, he's no longer with us. He hasn't been with us for about 20 years, but whenever he spoke at college commencement speeches, or even, you know, during his television show on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, he always reminded us as well he helped us to remember those who loved us into being. That's what he would say, kids, to remember those who helped love you into being. So that was his way of saying to take the time to remember those people that helped you remember that you're special, that you're talented. Maybe if you were having a little bit of a bad day, those people that were there for you. So Kameron, I want to start off with yourself, if this is okay. And we're giving a little tip of the cap again to Mr. Rogers with this. Who are some of the people that have loved you into being?
My sister, my mom, and my dad.
That's wonderful. You got a great support system. That's always important. Kylee, who are some of the people that have loved you into being?
I would say the same. My brother, my mom, and my dad.
That's wonderful. And Tamara, who who are some of the people that you would like to recognize on episode number 119 of the Children's Book Spotlight series that have helped love you into being?
Well, God first and foremost, of course. Other than that, my parents did, an awesome job of, well, I think an awesome job of, of doing what they, can do. I come from a huge family. So I say my parents, and of course, God, and my husband is awesome as well. And then my kids, they're great. So I say I'm blessed.
That's amazing. Kids, what if I told you that I've got presents for you? Do you like presents? Do you like presents, and do you like surprises?
Yes.
All right. Well, one of the perfect ways that we close out every episode of the Children's Book Spotlight series is a little segment that I like to call 3 Wishes. Now, if you ever saw the Disney animated classic Aladdin from about 30 years ago or so, you'll remember Robin Williams is the voice of the genie of the lamp. You may even have a better remembrance of Will Smith a couple of years ago in the live action version of Aladdin. I feel that all of us have the ability to help bring to life wishes for other people. So if there's something that you want to do, there's people that will come into your life that will help make those wishes come true. So each one of you, we've got 9 wishes for the 3 of you. So Kameron, you're getting 3 wishes right now. Now, these wishes, they can be for yourself, they can be for your family, they can be for the planet, they can be for, I think that the only 2 disqualifiers, Kameron, is that you can't ask for more wishes and you can't make someone fall in love with you. I think those are the only 2 disqualifiers, so to speak, right? So maybe if there's, a girl that you like and you want to get her attention, that has to happen naturally, Kameron. So what would be your 3 wishes today, Kameron?
One of them is stop the bullying.
Okay, that's a good wish.
The second one is I don't know.
Just think of something.
For me to be rich.
Okay, because then you can help more people too. That's right. Okay, so that's your second wish. And what would your third wish be?
To help everyone.
That's awesome. Those are 3 beautiful wishes. Kylee, you're being given 3 wishes yourself. What would your 3 wishes be?
I wish to help people and through the hard times that they're going through right now with the book that I made.
Okay.
And I wish to be wealthy when I get older.
Okay.
And I wish, if anyone's going through hard times, to know their worth and to keep on pushing.
Those are also beautiful wishes. And Tamara, you're being given 3 wishes too. So what would your 3 wishes be that you'd like to share with us?
Mine would be continued good health for my family and myself. That would be my first one. My second one would be for my children's book to be able to, help get in the right arms of the people to help. So I want their message to be, received to help other people. And then just with everything that's going on in the world today, I just pray to God that it could just cease. And, we're all more loving than hate. So those would be my 3.
Calling in more peace and harmony. I think that's a good way for us to begin to put this beautiful bow on episode number 119 of the Children's Book Spotlight. Just before we officially close out our episode here, kids, I feel that there's so much good. There's so much magic and miracles that are about ready to come into your life, Kameron, and your life, Kylee. Kameron, could you let our listeners and viewers know, have we seen your last children's book, or do you feel that there's going to be some other children's books that you're going to be writing in the future?
There's going to be some other ones with the same character.
Wonderful. And Kylee, for yourself, I don't want to assume things. I don't like to assume things, but I feel it's safe to say that your journey is just beginning. Is there a specific theme or subject or next project that you have in mind after your activity book?
I'm thinking about making another book to help little ones as well as this one that I made.
That's wonderful. It's always important because, as I mentioned, kids, the importance of creativity. You know, when you finish one thing, you can already start envisioning another and putting it into practice, which is amazing. Again, we encourage all of you, our listeners, our viewers, our friends and neighbors, and of course, our fellow shining stars. These things are absolutely adorable, by the way, kids. I love these shining stars. To head on over to Amazon.com, you can purchase your copies of Kameron's A Bully at My School and Kylie's ABC Come Trace With Me. While on Amazon, you can leave a 5-star review if you feel guided to do so. In the process, again, that's one of the many ways that you can not only encourage, but also inspire Kameron and Kylee to continue to do the wonderful work that they're doing, and of course, support their mission for the children in the process. Raise your hand if you had fun on episode number 119 of the Children's Book Spotlight Series. We've got many hands here. Can we get an amen? We see many hands here. This has been one of the most fun trolley stops in the history of the Children's Book Spotlight Series. I know that many of you are feeling a lot of love and joy and healing and happiness and just overall feeling good. A lot of peace, a lot of harmony. So if this message has inspired you, the message of Kylee, the message of Kameron, their mom, Tamra, we encourage you to subscribe to Empowered Publicity's official YouTube channel if you already haven't had the chance to do so, and to share this very special trolley stop that has been episode number 119 of the Children's Book Spotlight Series. And there are many more magical trolley stops to come as we're about ready to embark on the 7-year anniversary celebration of Empowered Publicity, which begins in the month of July. So if you are a children's author, if you are a children's illustrator, and you would like to share your inspiring story, just like Kylee and Kameron did here this week on the Children's Book Spotlight Series, if you would like to share your brand new children's book and become a featured guest here on the Children's Book Spotlight Series, you can head on over to our official website at empoweredpublicity.com or connect with us via any of our social media platforms that you now see on screen. Facebook and Instagram at Empowered Publicity, Twitter at Empowered_PR. We also want to give a little tip of the cap to one of our favorite neighbors, David Newell. Of course, you know him as David Newell. You remember him as Mr. McFeely from the long-running children's television program on PBS, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. If you would like to have your brand new children's book be reviewed by David and myself on a forthcoming edition of the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast, where we share heartfelt reviews from the newest children's books from our favorite neighbors around the world, you can connect with us via our official website and, of course, our social media platforms. Also, a little tip of the cap to one of our favorite neighbors here in San Diego, Laura Kavanaugh. The team at CBS 8, the CW San Diego, we have done so much great work for the children, parents, families, and educators, and us big kids alike here in San Diego, through Empowering Reads for Kids, the popular children's book review segment where we dive into the pages of the newest heart-centered children's books from the shining stars in the kidlit community. If you would like to have your book be reviewed and featured on Empowering Reads for Kids, you can connect with us via our official website and any of our social media platforms on screen. And if you're interested in more information on how we can be of service to you at Empowered Publicity, at PR from the Heart, as we enter our 8th year of service, you can schedule your courtesy discovery call by heading on over to empoweredpublicity.com and let us see how we can be of service to you. One final time, these 2 empowering reads, I've had so much fun talking about them today on this week's episode of the Children's Book Spotlight Series. A Bully at My School, written by Kameron Newborn and his sister ABC Come Trace With Me, written by Kylee Newborn. Again, 9-year-old and 14-year-old are doing such great work. We've learned so much from not only Kylee and Kameron, but their mom, Tamra, as well too. So again, we encourage you to head on over to Amazon.com if you already haven't had the chance to do so, and to leave a 5-star review. That's one of the many ways that, again, you can support and encourage Kylee and Kameron to continue to do the wonderful work that they are doing. This has been such a great trolley stop, kids. I want to thank you for everything that you are doing. Tamra, continued success with what it is that you are doing with your children. I feel that literally the best is yet to come for your family. And we want to thank all of you, of course, our listeners, our viewers, our friends and neighbors, and of course, our fellow shining stars, for your support of Empowered Publicity, for your support of the Children's Book Spotlight series, for your support of local libraries and children's bookstores all across the country, because we, of course, support the wonderful and the important work that libraries and the services that libraries and bookstores provide. We want to thank you for your support of children's authors and illustrators and the love of reading, the love of children's literature as well. And above all else, we want to thank you for helping us to walk home, the children of the world. I hear the trolley, and that means it is time to go. So we want to thank you for joining us. For Tamara Newborn, for Kylee Newborn, for Kameron Newborn, for myself, John Masiulionis. This has been episode number 119 of the Children's Book Spotlight series. We'll see all of you once again very soon. But in the meanwhile, thank you for helping us to walk home, the children of the world. Goodbye for now.
Bye.